Hey, Pat Batchelor here. Welcome to the DIY Engineering Podcast, where we talk today about baseball and one of the most amazing conversations I heard the other day between two Hall of Famers, the Atlanta Braves. One is Tom Glavine, and the other was John Smoltz. And one of the lessons or a comment that they made just stuck out to me, and I just said, boy, I've got to do a show on this about how to deal with defeat and sometimes maybe the worst outcome that you could have while doing sports, and how to have perspective on it, and the parallels between that, the game of baseball, and your job search and job interviews. So let's jump in and welcome to the show. Hi, I'm Pat Batchelor, and this is the DIY Engineering Career Builder Podcast. With 25 years as an engineer and 10 as an engineering recruiter, I'm now stepping into the role of job search and career coach. I want to help you find a job in half the time and have fun doing it. Whether you're looking for your first job right out of college, your next job, or perhaps one day even your dream job, I'm here to guide you to the next step. This would be fun, entertaining, educational, and most importantly for you, empowering. So let's get started. So the other day I was watching a broadcast of the Atlanta Braves, and in the booth was Tom Glavine and John Smoltz, a couple of other guys, like Chipper Jones, Jeff Francoeur, and it was such a fun show. And they were just talking and kidding and giving each other a hard time, but one of the things that just stuck out in my mind is they were going through their statistics, and Tom Glavine had his notebook out, and he had all the stats for all the games that they had played and number of hits and all these different things. And then he said, John, how many home runs you gave up?" And John Smoltz said, "Well, I always had a goal of being able to give up 250 home runs." And they both laughed and said, "Yeah, man, that was the goal." And the reason why was, he said, if I could give up 250 home runs, which is for a pitcher, if you're pitching, your job is to strike out people or get a ground ball or a fly out or whatever, but to get the worst outcome ever, if you take a baseball and throw it at home and hope the hitter's not going to do anything with it, but if he hits it out of the park, that's about the worst outcome you could have, right? And yet he said, I always wanted to give up 250 home runs. And the reason why, he goes, it's real simple. If I gave up that many home runs, I knew I was in the bigs for a long, long time. Sure enough, both of them are Hall of Fame players. And Tom Glavine, actually, I was looking at my notes here. Tom Glavine gave up a total of 377 home runs. So that's the worst outcome you could have as a pitcher, is giving up 377 home runs over 21 years. And John Smoltz gave up 305. So you can see that was John Smoltz gave up about 15 home runs per year. And that's the worst thing you can do. But here's the thing. What that shows us is that they were up, and in life we always want to try and control outcomes, and we think about, what's going to happen if this does, or what's going to happen if this does, and thinking ahead and preparing is absolutely the right thing to do. But to also, when that maybe you get the worst response ever on an interview, maybe they just say, look, you're not the right person. No reason to come in, or we thought something else. Or sometimes when you're trying your best to interview for a job, it doesn't go well. It's just not a fit. And so it was interesting because I just thought, what a healthy perspective of failure that both Tom Glavine had and John Smoltz. And there's a reason why they were uber successful in their career, but they understood that some days you're not going to have your best stuff, or some pitches you're going to throw it up there thinking, I'm fully committed to this pitch. I'm going to give it my best. This is absolutely the right pitch. But the batter guessed right at that particular time, swung the bat, and wham, the ball went over the fence. So it was just such a healthy perspective of failure. And so it kind of reminded me of baseball again. Right now in 2023, the number 2 and the number 3 batters batting average in the major leagues is Freddie Freeman. He's one of my heroes. Actually, I've got his jersey on right now. But Freddie Freeman's batting, he is currently at 328. And Ronald Acuna Jr., who plays for the Braves, he's at 327. So you go, wow, anything over 300 is great. But think about this. In the game of baseball, if you only fail 70% of the time, you're one of the best batters in the league. Because that means you got 3 hits out of 7 at-bats, or 10 at-bats, right? And so that's an amazing statistic. And what you realize is that in the game of baseball, especially as a hitter, you know that the odds are against you of getting a hit. And the best of the best of the best who are out practicing their craft day after day after day fail 7 times out of 10. Now, what does that tell us? I think it means that we need to get used to the fact that if we're trying hard at anything, even me trying this podcast, if you're trying, okay, I'm trying, I'm not great at it, but I'm trying to convey some information. And what it is that if you're trying, you're going to be successful sometimes. Sometimes you're not going to be successful. Sometimes it's straight up, it's a fail, right? It's just failure. Fail, fail, fail. The ball went over the fence. You made your best pitch and the ball went over the fence. Or, you swung the bat as hard as you could, thinking you're for sure going to hit it, and it just goes right by. And umpire goes, strike 3, you're out. You just go, oh. So failure happens in baseball all the time. So what makes the best of the best, the Hall of Famers, what makes them so good? Well, yes, it's hard work. Yes, it's preparation. Yes, they practice at their craft day in and day out. But they understand if you play long enough, you're going to fail. If you're a batter, you're going to fail more often than you're successful. And as a pitcher, sometimes the person's going to hit it out of the park. Well, when you're in your job search, sometimes you're going to make a phone call and the person's going to say, no, I don't want to talk to you. Or you're going to make 10 phone calls and nobody talks to you. And I just say making a phone call is like throwing a pitch. You make 10 calls, maybe you get 1, or batting, you swing, the ball comes at you and you swing and you miss. So the things that you want to learn is that in your job search, each little step, when you step up to bat, when you make a phone call, when you send out a LinkedIn profile or connection request, when you have a conversation, when you have an interview, you can only control what you bring to the table. And what you bring to the table is enthusiasm, hard work, preparation, passion. And you're saying, look, I'm excited about this opportunity. And you want to bring everything you got, 110%, right, to the table and say, this is exactly what I want to do. And you give your best. Sometimes you might get hired. Sometimes you might not get hired. But regardless, you showed up that day. You were in the game. And so don't try to always be worried so much about whether you do great or not so great. The job is to be in the game and trying to do your best, absolute best, week after week after week, day after day of your job search as you make the right steps in the right order in order to land your next job. Failures happen, and don't let it get you down. Don't let it stop you from doing the next right thing in your career. So that's it for today. Look forward to talking to you on the inside. If you're interested in learning more about the DIY course, check the link below, and we'd love to see you on the inside. Bye-bye. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. Every episode my goal is to make this podcast fun, entertaining, educational, and empowering. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you'd like to get information on how to update your LinkedIn profile, visit www.diyjobsearch.com. So that's all for today. Be safe, have a great week, and we'll see you next time. God bless you.